Communication skills. Are they important? Maybe more than we think. Why? When a conversation escalates into a heated argument, it requires costly conflict resolution. In this video, we will look at why it's essential and potentially even life-saving to learn effective communication and negotiation skills in relationships. Hi, I'm Eric Ahlstrom, and I'm the instructor for the Clear Safe Talk course. I became interested in the way we communicate with others in a very unconventional way. Several decades ago, I moved my young family to the Los Angeles area to start a new career. To make ends meet, my wife and I became apartment managers. As managers, it was not uncommon for tenants to approach us with their problems. One day, there was a disturbance in one of the units, and I was asked to investigate. I knocked on the door of the unit, and a woman opened the door in terror, screaming, "Please help me!" The apartment was in shambles, as if an earthquake had knocked everything around. Then a man stepped out into the entryway with an assault rifle, saying, "She's not leaving, and neither are you." And he made me shut the door behind me. The woman, who was the man's girlfriend, was nearly paralyzed in shock. I did the only thing I could do. I sat down with my back against the door and prayed, as the rifle was trained on my head. One thought flashed through my mind is that I didn't want to leave my wife with, at that time, two fatherless boys. During the moments that followed, something amazing occurred, still amazing to me this day. A peace came over me. Just maybe God was watching over me. Then a thought came to me. Ask him about his dad. So I did. The man began to tell me his story, and I listened, only interrupting when new questions came into my mind. Compassion for him began to grow in my heart. I asked him what led up to the scene, and he spoke of life's frustration, unresolved anger towards his dad, and an inability to communicate with his girlfriend. Then the moment came, after speaking his mind, he lowered his rifle. We talked for a while longer. Eventually he agreed to put his weapon away. Then his girlfriend joined in the conversation. Finally, they both acknowledged I was no longer needed and that they would continue talking. As he let me go, the girlfriend said she didn't want to press charges, nor did I, though I did recommend they get couples counseling. Now some might be wondering, Eric, weren't you being a little naive by not calling the police? Possibly. The laws have changed since then. However, the couple never made another disturbance for the duration of my days in managing the apartment complex. This incident is still vivid in my mind, as it could have had an entirely different outcome had emotions escalated. With this experience, and others less dramatic, led me to a several decades-long study on why so many conversations degrade so quickly and what can be done to improve them. First for myself, and then just maybe to help others. When I started, there were very few classes available on interpersonal communication. The ones that were just coming out focused on conflict resolution. Statistics at the time also indicated that less than 2% of people have had formal instruction on how to communicate, and that's not changed of late. Most of that was for public speaking, debate, and conflict resolution. I had not intended to develop a course, yet as my notes grew and my own conversations improved, friends urged me to put this in a course format. The first one was conducted live and now is in a more convenient online format. This course is an encapsulation of what just may be useful to you as well. You may be thinking, Eric, I've never been in a hostage situation before, so how would this course apply to me? That might be true, or maybe not. Do any of the following not sound familiar? If we don't go out for dinner tonight, I'm really going to be mad at you. Or, if I'm not in charge of this committee, I'm going to quit. Or, this offer is only good for today. If you don't buy now, you'll never get this deal again. Or how about this one? If you don't give me a cookie, I'll scream. When people feel unsafe by being trapped or offended, the issues at hand become less clear, and what should be a simple conversation can end tragically. Take the story from the 1890s about a small Baptist church in Mayfield County, Kentucky. The church had two deacons. Let's call them Bob and Joe. Both of them were respectable and good men in the community. However, these two men seemed to argue and bicker with each other from time to time. Maybe the friction was rooted in a high school rivalry, or they may have had a bad business deal with one another. We're not really sure. However, for whatever reason, these two just did not get along as well as folks would have thought for two people being part of the same church leadership. Then on one particular Sunday morning, Deacon Bob put up a small wooden peg on the back wall so the pastor could hang up his hat. When Deacon Joe discovered the peg, he was outraged. How dare someone put a peg in the wall without first talking with me? The two deacons then got into an argument over who had the right to decide on making a building modification. As the dispute escalated, the people in the church took sides. Some people agreed with Deacon Joe's position, while others thought Deacon Bob was well within his rights. Eventually, as the members became entrenched in their positions over the issue, the congregation split into the Peg Baptists and the Anti-Peg Baptists. Whether this story is true or not, it and others like it are often based on actual events. Relationships like this are sometimes at the heart of organizational or community politics. Why is reducing or even eliminating these occurrences important for people of faith? Jesus gave us the answer in John 13 verses 34 and 35. A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. He said the world will know we are His by our love for one another. However, that love is not always what those outside the community of faith see. But imagine with me, what if we could change that, even just a little? What would it mean to our circles of family, friends, and business contacts for us to learn how to make conversations clearer and safer, and just possibly keep them from escalating into conflicts that have to be resolved in the first place? How many relationships do we know could have been preserved had the conversations not gone sideways? How many business deals would have been successful had people not become offended? And how many people would have been more responsive to the good news if they saw believers who could effectively communicate? Would anyone disagree that these are real questions deserving of real answers? I don't either. That is a reason we will cover in later lessons why even some of the most committed people in our organizations and communities also become some of our most offended people. And then we will look at what we can do to de-escalate and substantially reduce the tension. The reason this course is called Clear Safe Talk is that both clarity in the conversation and safety for the speaker and the hearer are necessary for good communication. One can be painfully clear but not be heard by the other person. One can also be the safest, nicest person but be really unclear in what is said and heard. The methods in this course, when implemented correctly, will help us achieve both clarity and safety. I'm going to pause for a moment because I have no idea whether this course is for you. I just don't know. Maybe it isn't. If not, I hope you enjoyed the stories and maybe I stimulated more explorations in your search for answers to the very important questions that brought you to this video in the first place. However, if there is the possibility this course may be of potential benefit, is there any reason not to go on to the next video? If nothing comes to mind, then click on the link below to continue. What we will cover is an essential foundation for successful communication, the foundation in which the methods we will introduce throughout the course are built upon. And who knows, at the end of the course, you just may learn how to escape your own hostage situation.